Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to Built by Sam, and welcome to part 2 of the bathroom build here on the shop. I know it's been a couple weeks. It's been a busy couple weeks for me. Haven't had a ton of time to dedicate to this project, but I feel like I got a lot done, even though it may not look like it. So I'll give you a sneak peek here of what we got done, and then we'll jump into the video of how we got to this point. So everything's backfilled. All the walls are sealed up, everything's insulated, floor's done, the pump system's in, the 2-inch pipe that runs from the pump to the front septic tank is in, a check valve, shut-off valve, all that's in place, everything's sealed up, everything's there, all the floor joists are in, the access for the crawl is there, so stick around, I'll show you how we got to this point and how we'll keep moving forward. Alright, we're going to get our second ledger board in place here. That way this side's doubled up where all the joist hangers are going to be. And everything on the interior of this is going to be your standard lumber. I use pressure treated on everything on the outside that may be in contact with the elements or the dirt. But everything on the interior I want traditional lumber, so that way I don't have to worry about it drying out and deflecting or something like that. Because pressure treated lumber, when it's new, it's pretty wet, and as it dries out it tends to shrink and distort on you a little bit. And if I plan on tiling this floor, I don't want to have my floor joists made from that, so we're gonna tack it in place with some nails. Want the top flush. We're gonna go through and nail it some more in a minute, but what I also got is some 8-inch GRKs. So these are gonna go through both ledgers and into our posts there. Now we can nail these in on the end. So it's important anytime you're doubling up 2 pieces of lumber, if it's going to be something structural, that you do a nailing pattern. Typically it's every 16 inches, and depending on the height of the board is how many nails vertically you need, but on like a 2x8, at least 3 nails every 16 inches. And what that does is it makes it as if it's one piece of lumber, so that any load that's put on this wood is spread out between the 2 pieces of lumber instead of just on one board and the one behind is just hanging there. So they actually have to be fastened together. And if it's anything structural like a truss that's engineered, they'll actually give you a exact nailing pattern of how many nails per inch and how far apart they need to be, and whether they're a zigzag pattern or vertical pattern. But when you marry 2 trusses together, it gets technical on that. But on something like this, typically it's every 16 inches. If you can get to both sides, you can nail from both sides, but usually one side's fine if it's just 2-ply like that. We're going to secure this with just some of these foam fender washers. What they're designed for is screwing screws into foam. And we don't need too many here because there's actually going to be another 2x8 right here in front of this to kind of sandwich this all together. That'll give us a spot where our 2x4 wall is going to sit too, so it kind of bears across the two joists there. So now if you look, we should have exactly 3.5 inches left to the post. And what that's going to allow us to do is to put our 2x4s behind this all the way across, and that'll give us the structure to be able to backfill this. Like I told you guys in the last video, my property here is mostly sand, so I have zero concern with flooding or this thing filling with water or anything like that. I mean, I'm going to take some steps to waterproof the outside of it. We'll go over that later, but this might not work for everybody's application as far as the kind of soil and environment you guys have. You might not be able to do the same type of situation like this. Before we nail this side, we'll cut our second joist to go up against that. Then that way we can push this up tight to it. And that 90 1/4. So this will be our second joist. It goes in here. Gotta make a notch at this end for the ledger board over there. So, come in 4.5, down 7/8. So since I don't have any other long screws to kind of sandwich this all together, I got these 4-inch, but they're barely going to grab, so I'm going to counter bore them in a little bit with this paddle bit so they actually reach all the way through. So we'll sink them in probably 3/4 of an inch. That way they grab. All right. So the first one just goes flush to the bottom of the foam. So like I said, the way the math worked out is 11 1/4 center to center. So we'll go 11 1/4 off this one. That'll be the top of it. Then 22 1/2. The top of the next one. And the fourth one goes right up tight to the bottom of that. Good morning, guys. It's Sunday. It's hot already. Yesterday was like 91. Today's gonna be like 92. So I did do a little bit of work yesterday. Didn't get a ton done just because it was hot and we had other things going on. But I'll give you a little sneak peek of what's going on today and see what we can get done. So the same system will go across the front here. And we're gonna do something similar up against the existing building, just to keep that dirt from ever slowly caving in. And what we're gonna do after everything's done is I'm gonna put a piece of foam on the floor as well. So we'll do the same scenario. We'll get the ground leveled off perfectly flush to these bottom 2x4s, and the foam will go all the way to the outside like that and go across the whole floor. And I can fasten it down, I can seal that edge, and that way on the outside of this wall, the foam's going down past where this is. So any water that does come down isn't gonna just wick its way in, it should go past it. And then, like I said, everything will be sealed up on the inside. I also did talk with the directional boring guy. My original plan was to have the pump here and excavate a trench down to my property line that way. And it's about 250 feet up my property line to my front yard. But being that my ground is as soft as I'm telling you it is, digging a 4-foot deep trench doesn't work really well. It caves in real easy. I'm gonna be struggling to get the pipe down there without knocking in the dirt. And my pipe's gonna end up having all kinds of humps and valleys underneath it from the dirt that falls in. So, with talking with this guy, what he's saying we can do is he can literally come in from, park his machine up here, his directional boring machine, come in underneath this and go in right down there at the corner and go under the barn, underneath my pool, underneath the big trees in my yard, everything all the way to the front yard, a direct straight shot. He can maintain the 42 inches deep, no problem, so that my pipe is below the frost line. And I'll have a small pit for him dug up by my inlet to my septic tank, and he'll be able to pop up right into that pit, no problem. So that sounds like a great option. I don't know how much it's gonna cost yet, so we'll have to talk about that once that happens. But I just feel that's such a better option than me trying to dig and stay 4 feet down all the way around my property. And plus the way I would have to go is gonna add another 75 feet to the piping. So his run would be shorter, it'd be consistent depth, it'd be guaranteed below the frost line, and just much easier for me because I don't have to dig a trench the whole way. So that's the plan with that. We'll see if he shows up, if we can get some of that on camera, and we'll go from there. But for right now, I'll show you guys the pump and where we're gonna get that placed at. Okay guys, let's check out this pump that we're gonna be using. I ended up getting a Liberty pumps. It's a 42 gallon sewage pump with the the basin and the built-in pump already in it. It's a 1/2 horsepower pump. I did the calculations on it. It should be more than plenty for the amount of lift I have from here to the front yard. What's nice about this pump, everything inside's pre-plumbed as far as the pump goes, is hooked up to the cover and everything, so you don't have to do any of the connections internally. That's already done on it. It does have a 3-inch inlet in it, so that's where everything will get connected to, the toilet, the vanity, the shower, all that can go into that point. Then you have a 2-inch discharge. So once it goes through the pump, obviously everything gets much smaller and it's pressurized at that point. You're not relying on gravity, so it's gonna push it out that 2-inch pipe. It's gonna push it all the way to my tank in my front yard. So the height of this pump, like the outlet to where my tank inlet is in the front yard, I got about 5 feet of rise that it's gotta go. So it is gonna be uphill the whole way, but that's why we're gonna keep that line below frost line all the way to the front. That way, even though there's gonna be water and whatever sitting in it all the time, I don't have to worry about it freezing on me. So just want to show you that. The other nice thing about this one is it does have an access cover, so you can take this off, and if you need to access the floats, or maybe if there was something that went in there that needs to come out, you don't have to unhook all your plumbing to have an access point. So you can remove this access cover, you can get to the pumps, get to the floats, and not have to unhook everything in there. I've used these in the past. Knock on wood, I've never had an issue with them. They always worked great. Liberty makes some really nice pumps. It's a full cast iron pump. So I have no concerns with it. I feel like for the amount of use it's gonna get out here, this is gonna work out perfect for me. So I just wanna show you guys the inside of this pump here, how it does all come pre-plumbed. Everything's all hooked up. Your floats are all in place. Your piping is all connected and glued. So there's nothing you have to do internally. You don't have to remove any of the bolts on top or anything like that. You just need to make your discharge connection, your vent connection, and your inlet connection. So it's ready to go right out of the box. And like we talked about before, I could have put a septic field in the back here. I could have put just a holding tank. There's many different options you can do to have a place for this to go. I'm not on city sewer. I do have a septic field, so my septic field's in the front yard. So this was the only option to get water from here to my septic field without having to put in a second one or put in a holding tank. And I really just don't like the idea of a holding tank, worrying about when it's gonna be full, filling it up. If the toilet's accidentally running, if it gets stuck on and the toilet just stays running, I don't have to worry about the tank just filling up with water and having to pay someone to come pump out a bunch of water. So this for me made the most sense. You know, I also could have kind of did my own septic field and did a DIY style one, but I really don't think that's worth the risk of the accountability that comes with that. If I ever want to sell my house and now I got this homemade septic field in the back, it just didn't sit well with me. So this to me made the most sense, and that's what we're going to go with. So let's get the pump out there, figure out where we're going to set it, and dig a hole. So that closet's about 3 feet, or is 3 feet off the wall, so that interior wall is about here. So I'm thinking is if I put this, so that this can go directly up the interior wall, that would be ideal. So interior wall, thinking about right there. So I guess let's just get this hole dug and see how deep we're going to set it. Okay, so the whole pump is about 31 inches tall. And right now we got from the bottom of our joists to the floor is 34 inches. So whatever we go down, that's how much headroom we'll have basically above the pump, minus a couple inches. So right now we're 24 inches down. So that means I'd have 2 feet above it between the joists and the top of the pump, which I think is good. Might just take a couple more shovels out. I'll level up the bottom. Then we'll set it, get it level, and then we can backfill it with the same sand back around it. So we'll just tamp down the bottom so it's solid. Dirt to that side. We should be pretty good. This side did look a little high, so I'm gonna have to level it out a little better. So I don't want to happen. All right, that's good. Both ways. Gonna turn it a little bit. our vent, discharge, and our inlet. So it's just a protective cover it comes with. Keep the dirt and water out of it for now while we're working around it. Pushes down on these ports. Covers everything up. And I'm gonna go get some tape. And I'm gonna tape off that inlet just so we don't get a bunch of dirt down the side there. So instead of getting tape, I'm just gonna take one of these disposable gloves, stretch it over the inlet here. And that'll keep the dirt from going in. So now we can backfill around this. So just so you guys know, these pumps don't have to be mounted in this configuration. If you're in the process of building the shop, you can put it in the cement floor as you're constructing the building and not have to worry about putting it outside the building. It can be inside, you can make a pit for it and have the cover level with your slab, and it's all inside your building. It's protected from freezing, and you don't have to go this route. The other thing you can do is you can mount them outside your building and just have them outside below grade, but it's got to be below the frost line. So if you live in an area like me where the frost is 42 inches, the pump's got to be down that far, and they do make extension collars that raise the lid of this up to grade so you can access it. And it's like an insulated cover that allows you to get to it without it freezing though. So there is a couple options. Like I said, this was kind of the best case scenario for me, I thought, to where I didn't have to have it in a pit outside and worried about it freezing. I'd have access to it easy, and I didn't have to break up any concrete in my shop to go this route. So, like I said, planning ahead can solve a lot of these problems. If I would have told myself, yes, for sure, I'm putting in a bathroom, then I wouldn't be doing this right now. But at the time, I was trying to maintain a budget, and that was one of the items on the list that wasn't going to make it. So now we're doing it after the fact, and yeah, it's additional work for sure, and it probably would have been cheaper from the get-go, but at the time, I just couldn't do it that way. So this is the route we chose to go now. I think we are supposed to get some rain tomorrow, so that'd actually be good to help, wash this in and help pack it down even better for us. Between our top cover and bottom of floor, we got about 28 inches, so that should be good. All right guys, so talked to the boring guy, directional boring guy. He's gonna be coming Thursday. Today's Monday, and he said he can bore directly from where we're at in the backyard under the barn. He'll probably go around the pool instead of going under it, but he'll be able to come up right here. And basically where I'm standing is my septic tank, and behind me, or in front of me here, behind you guys, is the septic field itself. So the inlet comes right off the corner of my house into the tank here, and that's what we need to expose. I got to expose the drain that comes from the house into the tank. And that's where we'll end up tying the 2-inch pipe from that comes from the pump. All I got to do now is just dig a hole. And I don't know if you can tell, but the grass is pretty darn brown around here. It's been dry for the last few weeks at least, and everything's just kind of dried up. So I don't know how easy or hard this is gonna go, but nothing to it, but besides dig. So here we go. Okay, we found it at the depth I kind of thought it was. It's really only about a foot below the surface. I had to go a little further that way, but I did find it. So we got this whole area dug out a couple feet. Once the pipe comes through, I'll have a little flexibility to put in a Y, cut that out, put in a Y fitting. That's about it for tonight. It's getting pretty late. I think I'm just gonna go hop in the pool with the kids because I'm hot. I need to cool off. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. So today was a good day. We got the directional bore guys came this morning and got my pipe pulled through. Worked out awesome. I wish I was able to stick around and watch the whole process and film the whole process, but I had to get to work. We had some issues going on at work. I couldn't really stay home the whole day, so worked out great. They were able to set up their machine basically right behind here. And if you ever seen a directional bore machine, typically they got tracks on them. They screw 2 augers into the earth to stabilize the machine so it doesn't slide or pull itself forward or push itself backwards. And their auger, or their bore drill, went right down along here and went right into the bottom of the crawl here underneath the barn. So they were literally able to go right here under the barn, and they tracked it with the guy holding the meter all the way through the barn, kept the exact depth all the way to the front, and made it look effortless. So one less thing for me to do. Nice enough to let me set up a couple time-lapse cameras on them, so I'll let you guys see that video. So after they went under the barn, this is where they came out. You can see the orange marks. They followed. They're down about, he told me, between 46 and 48 inches down. That's where he kept it. He kind of went right alongside the pool here instead of going under it. You see the orange marks. And they made their way all the way up to the front up here. Basically right next to the tree. And if I had to trench this and go through roots, and I have other gas lines going to the pool and the barn, electrical, he was able to just go underneath everything and stay at the right depth the whole way. Right under my fence here. And was able to pop out right where we had the hole dug perfectly. Came out of the hole. And he even marked on the ground here for me. So at this point, he's 36 inches deep. At this point, he's 40 inches deep. And right back here, he's 46 inches deep. So as they came in, they had to come up. And I told them to keep it as low as they could and come up as quick as they could. So the least amount of pipe was above the 42-inch frost line. So it actually, I'm surprised how quick they were able to come up. So basically from this point, from here to here, after I make my connection, what I'm gonna do is we're gonna dig this back to expose the pipe to at least the 42-inch mark. And we're gonna insulate this pipe all the way up to that connection we make there, to where we don't have to worry about it freezing. So very impressed with them. Made it super easy. And you can see this side's all muddy because what they do is they push their directional bore from here, and they steer it all the way to the pit on the front. And then when they retract it is when they pull the pipe back through the hole that they make. And you can kind of see the mud and water in here. And what that's from is they inject water and bentonite, I believe it's called. It's like a clay mixture in the water. And that helps stabilize the sandy soil so it doesn't close in around the pipe as they're trying to pull it back around the bore shaft. And it lubricates it as well. So they're able to pull that pipe, the 210 feet or so it was, all the way back in one shot. So for what it costs to actually do it, they included the pipe and obviously the labor for doing it for $10 a foot. And if I would have had to buy the pipe, just the pipe alone, I would have had to bought a 300-foot roll. So that was around $600 just for a 300-foot roll of the 2-inch poly pipe. And then I would have had to rent a trencher. I would have had to fight all that. Plus I would have had to go a longer distance, and I'm not cutting tree roots and whatever else, fighting cave-ins. It's definitely the way to go. So if you guys got a long distance to run, whether it's electrical, plumbing like this, water lines, if you can find someone in your area to directional bore for you. I know prices definitely can range. I had other guys quote me almost double that price, but these guys, they did a great job, and the price was definitely right. We did get all the foam installed around the outside, all the 2-inch foam. Got all the wall supports or girts, whatever you want to call them, on the interior. And now my plan is I'm going to add another layer of 1.5-inch foam on top of that 2-inch. So I already got them cut down to size here. And what these are going to do is these will fit up in here, flush against the rim joists here. Add another layer, cover my posts. All the seams, all the foam will lap over each other. I'll tape all the seams, and I'll tape this joist to the foam. And this should just give it a complete water barrier where everything can run down. The foam's obviously waterproof. If we cover up these seams, it should make all the seams waterproof and just give it a good protection. So we'll have 3.5 inches of foam, which equates to like an R, like 17.5, which is more than enough for below grade. I think code realistically is like R11 below grade for the first 42 inches. I'm also gonna put a bead on this post here. All right, so now we'll tape everything up, and we'll kind of work our way up from the bottom up so everything gets shingle lapped over top each other. So we'll do our verticals first, then we'll do the perimeter from the foam to the rim joists there. So we got it sealed up pretty good. Everything's taped off, all the corners. The 2 rows of tape from the foam to the wood here. I did run out, but I think I'm gonna get one more and finish it off to the top all the way around, so that all this exterior wood from here down will be covered, and that way there's no chance of water or dirt getting behind this and to try to peel it away. So I'm gonna fire up the tractor and just get some dirt around this, just to keep the foam all tight and hold it in place. It's gonna be dark in probably 20 minutes or so, so I'll see if I can get something filled in, and be back at it tomorrow. Okay guys, we're back out here this evening again. We're gonna work on putting down a layer of 2-inch foam on the floor here before I get the floor joists in place. Just gonna take my pencil and trace this out. Right, not too bad. So, like I was saying, tomorrow I'll make that connection, have that piece stubbed up. We'll rip a strip down, we'll be able to make this one piece here. We'll foam all our joints, screw that in, and then we can tape the seams too. Maybe we can do a perimeter tape if we need to. And then we're sealed up. I'm gonna cut some joists real quick. Maybe I'll be able to get some of them tacked up tonight. It's already getting dark again. And right now I'm just gonna go through, I already got them laid out. We're basically 16 on center. I made sure my toilet's basically gonna be right here with the tank against this wall. And your rough for your toilet is 12 inches to the center of the 3-inch pipe. So I wanted to make sure my joist isn't gonna hit that. So I got enough room. My first joist is gonna be here. My pipe will be right here. My 2x4 wall will be right here. So from finished wall to the center of my pipe's 12 inches, but I got about, I think it's 14.5 inches to the first joist on the outside there. So that's gonna work out well. Then we're gonna have a double joist at this end because I'm gonna box in an access here on this side to get in from the closet into the crawl space. So I like to just get them in place, get them level, tack them in, and then put the hangers in after the fact, because not every joist is perfectly true in height. And if you set all these at the exact same height, and then you drop your joists in there, if your joists vary slightly, then it's gonna mess you up. So we'll do that. I also always mark which way is up on the joist. You always want the crown of the board to be up so that as the weight goes on there, it helps flatten it out, and then you don't have any variations between some joists that would be facing up and some down. You can get a whole bunch of dips and valleys in your floor. So if they're all facing up, all your humps up, the crown of the board facing up, you'll be in good shape. So it works out kind of nice with this top 2x4 on this side. It'll help hold that end for me, and we'll tap them into place, and I'll get the nail gun here and start shooting them in. That's not good. I don't know what the heck happened to this thing. Never had an issue with it. I've had it for a couple of years now, and she ain't firing. It's never sounded like that before. If you guys ever had this problem, let me know, because that's kind of a bummer, because this thing's been great, other than being extremely heavy. A beaver hole?
No, like a breeze hole.
Oh, well, there's gonna be an access in the.
Is there gonna be like a hole you can breathe through?
Well, you don't need to breathe through it. It's not gonna be full of water. It's just gonna be a small little basement. Just imagine a miniature basement.
Then I can sit down and just relax.
I guess. I mean, there won't be nothing to do down there.
I can get some Doritos.
Doritos?
Yeah, and some water.
Can you hand me that drill? Just left Lucy in the house all by herself.
Ah, don't
You're supposed to protect your sister at all times.
And I locked the doors for her. I locked the doors.
Tommy and I are out here this morning. We're gonna get the joist hangers in place, get that done. I'm probably gonna finish hooking up the pump to the discharge line, get the elbow in place, then we can finish the floor down there, get that sealed up. I just want to get as much done underneath there as I can before I sheet it. That way we're not working in the dark or hard to get in and out. So we'll get as much done as we can now, go from there.
It's okay if I like.
So this is actually a nail gun for joist hangers. It has special 1.5 inch galvanized nails. Put the nail into the hole. It doesn't have a guard like a typical nail gun does, so you can line it up with the hole. It shoots them, drives them, but it only does the 1.5 inch ones. So when you're doing joist hangers, your flats typically are 1.5 inch, then your diagonal nails need to be a 3-inch nail, 10D nail. So those, I got loose nails. We'll probably use the palm nailer for them, but all our 1.5 inch nails we can use the nail gun for. It makes it easy. So it's always a good idea to have safety glasses on, because when you're shooting through the metal, you know, you don't want to have one bounce off and hit you. So we'll get these in first with 1.5 inch, come back and we'll drive the 3s in there.
That I should see something. I should be wearing safety goggles.
Close by. Alright, double.
Double? Oh, I thought double. Got the big boys. Here's the double.
Double trouble.
Oh, that's loud. Dad, it's not squeezing through.
Spin it around.
I did it that way. It's hard.
Nail gun. So if you guys haven't used palm nailers, these work great for, especially for joist hangers, because it's always awkward to hammer by hand into these spaces. So you just set the nail, there's a little magnet, and when you push, it just starts hammering and nailing for you. A little noisy, but it's better than swinging a hammer. Put your safety glasses on.
Okay, where?
Very gently put it in the hole. Okay, now start pushing. Push. A little more. One more. Okay, want to try now?
Yeah. This is fun.
You gotta get the right angle.
Wait.
Keep pushing. What do you think? Pretty cool?
Yeah.
Alright, go on the other side. Line it up.
Okay.
Okay, push. There you go. See it? Put the nail in there. It sticks in there. See? Like a magnet.
I can do it myself.
Okay. One more. Okay. Do that one all by yourself here.
Wait, which one? This one?
Right in these. Put it on an angle. A little more like this. There you go.
Wait.
Yep,
No,
go.
you too much on that.
I'm just holding the hose.
Oh. I hear Benji.
Here, Benji's like, what's that noise?
Says, I don't care if he comes over. You're not gonna hold it.
I'm not gonna hold it. Just do the right angle. Just like that, yep.
Like that?
Yep. little more. One more push. Okay. Good job. When you do these, you can't use screws unless they're like the actual Simpson structural screws made for hangers. You can't just take like a deck screw or even like a GRK construction screw and screw them in, just because they're not, a screw does not have the same shear value a nail has. I mean, some structural screws may, and like I said, the ones designed for the hangers do, but you can't just go grab an off the shelf like typical construction screw or deck screw and use that on your hangers. They just don't have the shear value to hold, so you have to use the approved nails or hangers.
Dad, are you using special nails?
Yep. You know what kind of nail that is?
Joist hanger ones.
Yep, but they're, see how they're like a gray silver? That means they're galvanized. Anytime you go into the green lumber, you gotta have a galvanized nail. Because green lumber will rust out a normal nail. And then it'll break. So I like to deburr the outside of, especially the larger pipes. If you got a real sharp edge on there, when you go to put it inside another fitting, it'll scrape all the glue off the inside of the wall. When you got a little bit of a chamfer there, it just helps keep some of the glue on the interior wall of the fitting. So it's something that's recommended. Most people don't do it, and I honestly don't do it much myself, but when it's a larger fitting, it's kind of easier to do, and I will do it. So we're gonna dig up this spot here where the inlet is and get this 4-inch connection on here. It is a fern coat connection, so we'll put this rubber connection on there. Then we'll have an elbow coming up, and then I'm gonna end up converting it to, reducing it down to 3-inch, and we'll plumb everything into that.
We need to dig up the hole. I need to put the frame right there.
Yep.
There's a root. You want me to pull that out?
Got it.
Oh, you got it. Let me see if it looks like. Can I put one in?
All right. First, we gotta glue all these together.
Okay. And you're gonna do that part. Oh, you already got two on.
That's the purple stuff's the primer, so that goes on first and it dries, and then you do glue.
Is it already dry?
Yep.
Can I touch it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And generally, when I glue them, I do the inside of the fitting first, because you got to glue both the inside and then the fitting or the piece that's going in it. So I'll do the inside, make sure it's all completely coated, and that allows you to set it down and not, get dirt and everything stuck to it. Then I'll do the outside of the other fitting, get a good coating on both, and then you got to push them in, give it a little quarter turn, hold it for maybe 10 seconds or so, 5-10 seconds. If you don't hold it in there, to kind of walk itself back out. So if you just hold it for a few seconds, then it's it, and it's pretty solid after that. So that's going to be a reducer one. This is going to be the piece that joins to our fern coat fitting. So we'll get this one glued up. All right, hand me that bit, 5/16 bit.
16, I'll put that on. Oh, it goes that way?
Make sure it's level. So is it between the lines, the bubble?
Yeah.
Oh, we're pretty good. First try.
Oh, nope.
Well, that's good. We want a little pitch going in there. That means it's tilted the right way.
Mm-hmm. That one's in the middle. That one's in kind of.
Yep. Snug her down.
I'm doing the next Last one.
Can you go grab that cement trowel?
Yes.
Thank you. Grab one of those black gloves.
Black gloves? Can I have some?
We're gonna put it over top of this.
Somebody, one?
I just need one, yeah. Put the other way.
This way?
Yeah. Gotta keep dirt from falling down in there.
And do I do it like that?
No, you gotta stretch it over. Like this.
What if...
Just give me a thumbs up.
That's funny.
Saying good job. So I got everything kind of just dry fit right here, but basically this is the discharge, 2-inch discharge out of the pump. So we got to put in a threaded adapter, our 90-degree sweep elbow, and then we got our check valve here. So since this is pumping and it's pumping uphill, we got to put a check valve as close to the pump as we can, so that way everything that fills this 200 plus feet of pipe doesn't drain back into this basin and just basically trigger the pump again, because it's probably 35 gallons of fluid that pipe's going to be able to hold in that 200 plus feet. So got to have a check valve to keep everything from coming back. If you guys never use these quiet check valves, they actually are extremely quiet. If you guys ever experienced the loud thud or slamming noise that a pipe makes when a check valve closes on a sub pump or ejector pump, anything like that, these don't experience that problem. They're extremely quiet. They have a nice soft close on them. They hold I think this can hold 50 psi of back pressure, which is plenty. So, and it's got a built-in union on both sides. So if we ever do have to take this lid off, you can unscrew these. I can take this center section out of here, and I'll be able to access the lid without having to cut any pipes or any plumbing. And it's always a good idea, especially on a sewage pump. I mean, a sub pump doesn't matter as much because it's clean water, but you want to have a shutoff downstream of the check valve, because if you ever have to service this check valve and you take this out or have to replace this one day or something gets clogged, you want to be able to shut this off, because if you didn't and you unhook this, like I just said, you got 30 plus gallons of water and who knows what else is going to come back down this pipe and make a massive disaster. So we've got a 2-inch ball valve. These ones are really nice. They're very smooth to operate. Some of those big plastic style ones, they just don't function as well. And this has a true 2-inch all the way through it. So, and then after that, we're gonna have to adapt it to the 2-inch polyurethane pipe there. So there's a barb fitting, stainless steel barb fitting with a thread adapter, and we'll double hose clamp it and all that. So. And I also put a support here, so just a couple pieces of scrap wood down to the J hook here to support all this piping and valve, and we'll be able to get that where we want and screw it off here or nail it off once we get it glued up. And then we'll make our connection, and then I'll probably do a couple supports under that pipe. That way, if I remember down here and I'm crawling over it or something like that, and if I was to put pressure on it, I don't want to break any of this PVC, so I want to have it supported the whole way. So. That's basically it. I'll just set the camera down here. I'll get this all glued up and get it put together and see how she works out. All right, so this pipe is HDPE pipe, which is high density polyethylene pipe. And it's similar in the feel and everything to PEX piping, because PEX is polyethylene as well, but it's not high density, which means this stuff is very rigid. It's designed to be pulled through the ground. It doesn't stretch like PEX would if you tried to pull it back through the earth with when you directional bore something. So I mean, it's solid. Like, you can't crush this stuff. It's very stiff. So it is a standard size in the sense that, yes, it could fit right into a PVC 2-inch fitting, fits right on it perfectly. But the problem is PVC glue is a chemical bond where it actually melts the two pieces of plastic together. When you put the primer and glue in there, the two pieces of PVC actually melt and weld into themselves. That won't happen with this material. So if I put PVC glue on here and stick this on here, and I give it a good twist after it dried, the glue would all be stuck here, and this would just come off clean. It would not stick at all to this. So there's like 3 different style connections you could do with this pipe. One is, in the commercial applications, they use the machine that has a hot plate on it, and it melts the face of it, and then they'll melt the face of another one, and then they'll physically weld them together with the heat, high pressure heat. So if you see on the side of the road, sometimes they're running water mains. They got that plate between them too, and then they got a machine that forces them together, and it melts them and welds them together. Obviously, I don't have that equipment to do that. Second thing you can do is they make a compression style fitting that goes over this, and you can tighten down a big ring. And it's very similar in the looks. If you ever ran, it's almost the same material, the yellow stuff for underground natural gas lines, and they got those big plastic compression fittings. It's almost the exact same style for this, and those are rated for high pressure. But the problem with them is they're expensive. It's about $85 for a fitting to go from this to a 2-inch PVC, just one connection. So the third option is you can get these stainless steel barb fittings. These are designed, they got the multiple smaller barbs. They're not like the plastic ones. They got the real big barbs far apart. I mean, these are like super sharp. They're almost, I mean, if you ran your finger sideways on these, it'd probably cut you. And once you get this in there, I mean, it's a tight fit, and then you clamp them down with these T-bolt style clamps. So these are stainless as well. This is stainless. You can really get good torque on these. It gets a good full clamping force around it. And we'll put one opposite directions of each other. So we'll have them facing 180 degrees apart and facing 2 different directions here. So, so that's what we're going to do. The only issue is this is a very tight fit into here. And I don't care how strong you think you are or trying to pound this in there, it's not going to go in. I tried heating it and forcing it in. It ends up mushing and melting the end of this pipe. So the best way I found, and I did it up front already on the other end, is, you know, I was thinking about how they do the PEX expander tool for PEX B, I believe it is, where they put the tool in there and it stretches. They stick the fitting in it, and then as it shrinks back down, it seals itself on the fitting. Well, I don't have a 2-inch one of those, but I did have this is a tailpipe or muffler pipe expander. So you can put this in exhaust tubing, you tighten this down, and as you tighten it, these ride up these little ramps, and it actually stretches the metal tubing out. So I did the same thing up front. I put this in there, cranked her down. I did add a little heat to it as I was doing it to help relax it a little bit, because even with this tool, it is a very tough pipe to stretch. And from experience up front, you definitely got to go more than you think you do, because as soon as you take this out of there, it starts shrinking up pretty quick. So I think we're probably pretty good. Do a couple more cranks. All right. That looks good there. I got these. So I'm gonna quickly remove this, shove this in there, and I'm probably gonna have to pound it in with a block of wood and a hammer. But let's cross our fingers and hope we get it in there in one piece, or in one shot. All right, we got it. First shot. Took me a few tries up front when I did it, but definitely a learning curve to it. I mean, the clamping force on these is, it's gotta be, I mean, I don't know the stats on it, but it's gotta be at least 2 to 3 times the amount of clamping force, if I had to guess. I'm gonna let that glue cure for a little bit before I go stressing it down, just because there's a little tension on it. It's not really, it's not bad, but I just don't want to tweak those 2 loose joints there just to tighten this up. So I'm just gonna give it a few minutes set up. I'll clean up my mess a little bit and I'll come back down and we'll connect that. All right, one last thing we're gonna do before I make this connection while it's still setting up is I'm just gonna get this length of pipe put in and the vent for this sump with a union installed. So same scenario, if I ever gotta take this lid off, I'll be able to disconnect this union here, disconnect this one here or here, either one, and I'll be able to get to this pump without having to cut any of the plumbing. So just gonna seal this threads up, glue this together, and we're just gonna leave it for now until the walls get built upstairs and we'll be able to vent this out up through the roof. So let's get it glued up. So just so you guys are aware, anytime you put in a pump basin like this, whether it's one in your basement or something like this in a barn, or even the little ones that go under the sink, like if you just have a single sink and you got a pump under it, you have to have a true vent to that basin, or at least really close to the plumbing coming into that basin, because what happens is you can't use like a mechanical vent, like a Studer vent, something that only lets air in. Yeah, only allows air to draw inward, because what happens is when water or waste is trying to make its way into this basin, it's displacing air. So as it fills up with water, that air has to go somewhere. And a mechanical vent only lets air come into the pipe and doesn't let air exhaust out of a pipe, because they're usually in the living space of the home or basement, whatever it may be. So those only let air to be drawn in, so like you don't create a vacuum on a pipe as it's draining out, like under a sink or something like that. But in a basin like this, when you have water going in, you're creating positive pressure. So you have to have a way for that air to expel out of there, or else the water will just stop draining. Like it'll get to a certain point, once the basin starts filling up, it just can't go anymore, because the air pressure in the basin will exceed the pressure of the water coming in, and the water will literally just stop, and maybe you'll get some air bubbles coming up through the water, but it won't drain good. It'll be a problem. So you always have to have a true vent of some sort on the basins. The best, if it's on your main line coming in, if you got a 4-inch and you come off of that, as long as you're pretty close to the basin, would probably be fine. But just to be safe, they put a vent here for a reason, and it's always best to have a direct vent on this here. Okay, so the goal here is to get this 4-inch to 2-inch Y cut in. This is my main 4-inch coming out of the house. This is my septic tank right here with the inlet going in. So we're going to cut this pretty much right up against the tank there. I'm going to put a 45 and then a 22.5 that points down slightly, because this is going to be coming up on a pitch. So that will all tie in pretty much like that. What we're gonna have to do is cut a section back and use what's called the repair coupling, which has no center lip in it, and you can slide this up. We can put a length of pipe in here that fits between it, and then slide it over the seam. So these things kind of stress me out because you get them glued up, you get them slid, and you don't have much time to work with it. PVC cement sets up pretty quick. On these repair couplings, these are designed to be slide on the pipe, like I was saying, with no lip in them. But even when they make them, there is a little groove, and sometimes you can get hung up on them. So I like just to take a piece of like 120 grit and just kind of smooth it out, because once you get glue on these things, like I was saying, you're trying to get it in position. If you got anything that stops you, you're kind of screwed if you come to a stop, because once that glue grabs, you're not going to move it. So for these connections, we're going to use the Rain or Shine glue. And the reason for that is this is more of a forgiving glue when the surfaces aren't perfect. If they're a little bit wet, you know, a little bit more dirty than normal, this is great for repairs or something like this where you might have a couple drips coming out. I mean, you can't have stuff saturated, but it's just much more forgiving than your traditional glue. Plus it sets up a little quicker, so if you got to get back in service sooner than later. We're gonna make a mark so we know where to stop with this thing. So it's 3.5 inches. So from the center of this, we're gonna go 1 3/4 inches. So that's where we want that fitting to end up, if we can. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna saturate these two joints as much as I can so they stay as wet as possible. If we get it across, we're gonna spin it as much as we can so it spreads the glue out as best it can. Okay, wish me luck. Come back a little bit. Okay. Was it so bad? We are officially connected from the pump in the back to the septic in the front. Everything's tied in. It went about as well as it could have. It obviously never looks good when you do a slip repair coupler. It always smears glue all over, and using the blue glue looks even worse. But everything got a good connection. Everything fit well. There's not much tension or nothing on this pipe. Everything's good. There is one thing I'm going to do is just get some hydraulic cement and kind of repack this pipe around the concrete there. I don't think it's leaking or anything right now, but I just want to take care of that before I backfill. But I think what we're going to do is I'm going to go put the hose in the pump in the back and start filling her up and see if we find any leaks. Let her kick on. So let's see what happens. So we're going to stick this hose right into the 3-inch inlet, and we're going to turn it on. While that's filling up, I'm going to grab a cord and we're going to plug her in. I hear water going in. That guy in. All right, we got power. So I don't know how many gallons it is before it kicks on. I know it says it holds 41 gallons on the sticker here, but I don't know if that's the kick-on point or just the total volume of that basin. Kind of wait and see. You'll be able to see water right away. Oh, I gotta open this valve. That would have been not good. Oh, there she goes. All right, nothing's leaking at this end, so that's good. I'm gonna wait for it to kick on one more time, and then we'll go take a walk over to the other end, see what happens to that. And I don't know if you guys could tell how quiet that check valve is, but it's very, very quiet. There's no thud or bang whatsoever. Let's go check out the other end. Well, everything looks dry. I don't see no drips or no leaks, so we'll wait and see if we can hear it kick on. Yep, there it goes. Yeah, it's quiet. You can barely hear it, but I heard the water going in. Mission accomplished. All right, that's gonna be it for today's video, guys. It's getting late, and we're gonna wrap this one up here. I know it may not look like we got a lot done, but I feel like getting that pump system out of the way and getting all the plumbing connected from here to the front was a big accomplishment. And I'm really happy that that's done and it's working. So I think from here forward, it's gonna be a little smoother sailing. Next step be framing the walls and the roof. And by the time you guys tune in next, we should have all that done and we'll be on to metal siding and roofing. So if you liked what you saw, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you could, I'd appreciate it. And we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.